First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my kids what their grandfather did to me? I've been with my husband since high school, and his dad has always made me uncomfortable. Father-in-law adores, borderline worships his wife, and is very cold to everyone. I always thought the family dynamic was a bit weird, but everyone else was nice. Mother-in-law is questionable, but I love his siblings. I got pregnant right after high school and we needed financial help. Around the same time, mother-in-law was diagnosed with late-stage cancer and the prognosis was not great. Father-in-law was devastated. I mean, he pretty much stopped speaking to anyone but her. Mother-in-law has always been vain, and she had a nervous breakdown when she started losing her hair. They are well off, and she had the best wigs money could buy. I guarantee most people didn't know she was wearing wig, but it was very hard on her. I have a long blonde hair, as did she. Apparently my hair was triggering her, so father-in-law told me it had to go. I told him that was unfair. He told me I could cut it or be homeless. I agreed, and he took scissor and cut it off. I wasn't expecting him to just do it like that, and it looked terrible. That was 10 years ago. Mother-in-law did make it, though it was a long road. All of father-in-law's kids view him as a hero because he took such good care of her, but I still hold a lot of resentment. My kids are not allowed around them without me or my husband present. The kids are pretty indifferent to father-in-law but adore mother-in-law, and recently were questioning why they can't have sleepovers like their cousins do. I was honest about what he did and why I don't trust him. My kids ended up calling mother-in-law and father-in-law and confronting them. Mother-in-law made excuses and made it all about her. My 8-year-old daughter got very upset and said that she doesn't want to see them anymore. Mother-in-law swore at me, kids weren't present, and said that I poisoned them against her. I said that her own husband's actions did that. Mother-in-law isn't talking to me currently and accused me of making fun of her cancer. She always plays the victim when she is cornered, but for the most part, people are on my side. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Oh my god. Fairy tale villains have time traveled to the future. Seriously. An evil mother figure who's jealous of the daughter figure's beauty. An abusive father figure who torments a girl for being beautiful. Traumatic hair cutting against your will. They're from the Middle Ages. You told your kids the truth, and they made their own, right, judgment. As they get older, they'll find it more disgusting. Hair cutting against someone's will is very intimate, damaging, personal violation with all sorts of implications we won't go into here. If they both think it is fair and right, why should they care you told your kids? Haven't they proudly told everyone themselves? How they bravely cut a woman's hair despite her objections because the evil witch was jealous? They're not bragging about it? No, because they know it was wrong. If you don't want people to think you're evil, don't do bad things. I'm so sorry you went through that. Congratulations on having the clarity and resolve to see them for what they are and to protect your kids from them. Don't give your kids any reason to think that's an appropriate way to act when you're jealous. Not the a-hole. Wow, what he did to you was horrible. He took away your autonomy and threatened to make you homeless if you didn't give it up. Honestly, you should go no contact. I would have if I could with just him, but mother-in-law didn't know. Her shock was very real when she heard what he did almost a year later. Info, there's lots of details missing here. So other than the single hair-cutting event, what is the rest of your relationship with them like? Has the inappropriateness of that incident ever been discussed with them since? Most importantly, where is your husband in all this? What was his response to his father cutting your hair? How does he feel about you telling your children this? He never had a great relationship with his dad. Father-in-law was kind of authoritarian, but he feels bad for punishing his mom. She 100% didn't know until almost a year after the fact. She can't act, and that was genuine shock. He wishes the kids could go over, but respects my decision. My relationship with mother-in-law is okay. Father-in-law ignores me for the most part, has always been a jerk to my husband for not working a white-collar job, and is okay with the kids but isn't a kid person in general. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for being upset enough at my wife for how she reacted to a house fire with our baby in the house that I left for a night with our baby? My wife and I have an 8-month-old. Last week, I was coming home from work, and just as I was coming up the driveway, she came running down the driveway barefoot. She saw me and yelled at me to call 911. There was a fire in the kitchen. I asked her where our daughter was because she wasn't with her, and she said she was inside and to call 911 fast. We live somewhere rural and response times are slow. I immediately was scared the house would go up with our daughter inside before the fire department came. I tried to run inside and she tried to stop me, yelling again and again that I couldn't go in. There was a fire. I went in. The way the house is laid out, you have to go through the kitchen to get to the hallway with the nursery. There was grease fire in the stove in a pan, and the wall above the stove and the curtains nearby was catching. I put out the pan by putting a lid on, and then put out the wall and the curtains with a fire extinguisher. Then I immediately went to the nursery and got our daughter. Going back outside, my wife was gone. I soon found out she went down the road looking for a neighbor whose phone she could use. But at the time, and for a while, I was really upset that her reaction to a fire had been to run out without our baby, and to even try to stop me from going inside before the fire department had come. And that she put her in danger by not trying to put the fire out with a lid or baking tray over the grease fire at first, when it was smaller, or trying to use the fire extinguisher. If I hadn't come home when I did, I don't want to think about what would have happened. The fire department showed up, but the fire was already out, and my wife returned too, driven by a neighbor. I was angry with her for the reasons I said, and she just totally clammed up. I went to stay with my brother and sister-in-law that night, taking our daughter, and my wife was very angry with me over it, saying the next day, how dare I leave her alone after that? She needed someone to drive her to the urgent care after injuring her feet running barefoot. That upset me even more. That was what she was worried about, not what had almost happened when she ran out of the house on fire without our baby. I've been staying at my brother's for about a week now. I don't know what to do, or if I was in the wrong for being so angry. Am I the a-hole for how I reacted to my wife starting an accidental kitchen fire, then running away leaving our baby in the house? Now for the top comments. BR, aka Beyond Reddit. You need counseling, couples and individual, not AITA. Yeah, agreed. This is out of our pay grade. The damage here is immense and multifaceted. Don't let people here put ideas in your head. You are likely to get drama mongering in spite of how well-meaning and sympathetic they might be. You need to bring in the professionals. For real. When my daughter was about 18 months old, she choked on a nickel. My husband yelled for me to come help, stood there with wild eyes in a white-hot panic and asked me 100 times in 20 seconds if he should call 911 while I was doing back blows. I finally said yes, and he grabbed his phone, called 911, and ran out of the house leaving me alone with a choking child. He said his plan was to be out there so the paramedics could find our house, which is fair, it's hard to find. But the reality was he just panicked. He handles crisis professionally, but in the moment, with his own child, he just freaked the hell out. I don't feel like I can judge her or you. No a-holes here. But your wife should definitely learn some basic first aid/home safety. Does your town do a survive alive house? Our town does, and I'm sure they would allow a grown-up who needed some general knowledge and needed to gain a level of confidence in handling small emergencies. A first aid class is probably a good idea too. No a-holes here. Your wife sucks in an emergency. That much is absolutely clear, and that needs to be dealt with for sure. That said, she panicked. I don't think it is fair to hold the decisions she made against her in that state, especially considering she followed the textbook rules that are drilled into children from a young age. Get out, call 911, don't go back in. Remember how many times you heard that back in elementary school from your teachers? On field trips to firehouses, and when the fire department came to your school to do a demonstration. Unfortunately, they don't send out updates for that once we reach adulthood. That said, I completely understand your anger, feelings of betrayal and lost trust in your wife. This is something you both should seek counseling about. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband for what he did at my friend's mother's funeral? I, 34, have a close friend whose mother died after a long struggle with cancer. My friend expected this, but is struggling to cope. I was there for her from the first hour until the funeral. She's my best friend. We grew up together and her mother was like the mother I always wished for. My husband, 37, and I got ready to go to the funeral. He's a self-employed real estate agent after he lost his position at his previous company. Things have been rough for him for the past year, and unfortunately he is still struggling. He's desperate for work. All he has is this one nice suit and his business cards to hand out to everyone he sees. He was married before I met him. My family don't get along with him, and he claims it's because he was married before me. Anyways, we got there. He was talking to few guests, and I just stayed by my friend's side during the service. My sister came to me, berating me, asking why I brought my husband with me. I thought, oh no, please, don't get started on him being married before. Really, my sister brings it up all the time. I told her to drop it. I looked and saw him talking to guests and thought nothing of it. We went to my friend's mother's house where her family gathered. I went to get a bottle of water, then I came back and saw my husband handing my friend his business card. I was shocked. My friend looked upset. Then I pulled my husband aside and asked what he was doing. He said nothing. He had a client looking for a house and thought my friend might want to sell her mom's house, and so he gave her his business card. I covered my face with my hand from shame and embarrassment. We left because I couldn't dare look my friend in the eyes. I yelled at him in the car and asked him who told him she wanted to sell her mother's house, and why he thought it was okay to hand her his business card on her mother's funeral when she was still crying for Christ's sake. He kept saying it was just a question, but I told him that was inappropriate and just awful because pretty much every guest heard what he said to her. He said he was trying to make a living. I told him there were other ways like social media / creating a website or something. I got home and I tried to call my friend to apologize, but she didn't answer my calls. He still thinks he didn't do anything inappropriate and that I'm being harsh on him by yelling. Now for the top comments. Wow. Something tells me that there are reasons to not like your husband that are not related to him previously being married. He needs to read the room. Not an a-hole. His actions were incredibly out of line and callous. Yeah, can't really blame Opie's sister for not liking the husband after reading that. What an absolute heartless thing to do. At least wait until the body is cold before trying to make a buck off of this poor woman's loss. Not an a-hole. I'm a real estate agent, and you have to hand your cards out and network if you want to be successful. A funeral is not the freaking time to network, especially the property of the recently deceased. Not a hole. That is just hugely inappropriate and insensitive in that setting. You must be mortified. Edited to add, not only is it unbelievably insensitive to your friend, it is so widely understood to be in bad taste that he can probably cross anyone who saw him do it from his list of potential clients as well. Maybe that he'll understand. Your Reddit is right on the money. In the pursuit of one sale, he just torched his reputation with heaven knows how many people who witnessed him being such a crass and predatory bore. It's as though he took that scene from combining obituaries and real estate listings from When Harry Met Sally, literally. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not trying harder to wake up my husband? My 24 female, husband 24 male, decided on one of his workdays to stay up all night drinking beer and talking one of his friends. I reminded him several times throughout the night that he had work and that he should go to bed, in which he responded that he would be fine. He finally crawled into bed 5 minutes before the alarm was supposed to go off, claiming that he was just going to rest for 5 minutes. The alarm goes off. I shake him, let him know that it went off, and proceeded to get him his clothes and pack his lunch like I always do. I bring him his clothes to find that he has fallen back asleep. I shake him hard enough to wake him up, telling him that it is time to go to work. He mumbles something, and I get up to take the dog out before I had to drive him to work. He can't drive. I come back in to find him still asleep. I shake him again to wake him back up. He wakes up long enough to look at me and then falls back asleep. So starts the repeated process of me shaking him waking up long enough to look at me, and him falling back asleep. I decide that shaking him isn't going to work, so I pull the covers off of him and drag him out of the bed, hoping this will wake him up, as by this time he is going to be late to work. He just mumbles and crawls back in bed. I give up and decide to give him a few minutes before trying again. I repeat the same process. Shake him, try to drag him out of bed, even take his hand to try and pull him up. No luck. This goes on literally for a couple hours. By this time, he is already late to work, which I have told him he was going to be multiple times, and he didn't listen. And it is getting to the point if I don't get him up, then I will also be late to work. I take an ice pack from the freezer and stick it on him. All this does is cause him to pull away and pull the blanket over top of him. I try this multiple more times, along with shaking him and once again trying to pull him out of bed. This also didn't work. I eventually gave up because he wasn't going to get his butt up and I was going to be late to work, so I just go and clock in. I work from home. He finally wakes up a couple hours later and demands why I didn't wake him up. I tell him I tried over and over to wake him up and he wouldn't wake up. He gets pissed off and tells me I didn't try hard enough. When I told him I even tried to drag him out of bed, he called me a liar and said that if he loses his job, then it would be my fault. Am I the a-hole for not trying harder to wake him up for work? How much harder could you have tried? I can't believe you tried as hard as you did. But what a huge red flag that he chooses to stay up all night drinking and then blames you when he can't wake up for work. Opie, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be questioning if you're the a-hole. Yes, so much. It is not your fault he stayed up late and slept through work. Don't you dare let him make you feel bad, not the a-hole. Also, I'd recommend you stop getting his clothes and packing his lunch. He's a grown man and can do it himself, along with getting himself up for work, not the a-hole. Info: I can't be the only one here wondering if this guy does anything for himself. She gets his clothes for the day, makes his lunch, gets him to work. He sounds more like a freaking toddler than a husband. There seems to be an ever-present stream of women posting about their useless children husbands. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take care of my wife since she caught the flu from having sex with her affair partner? Original post. This is partially a rant and partially an actual question. I, 54 male, have been married to my wife, Victoria, 54 female, for over 32 years. We have 3 adult daughters and 1 adult son. Early this year, she started menopause. I loved her and supported her throughout this difficult time. She said she didn't want to have sex because she felt like she's fat and ugly. I told her she's beautiful, and I was patient with her as she said she didn't want to be intimate. It was only since this month that she wanted us to be intimate again. I thought things were getting better, until I saw a condom wrapper in our bedroom. My job involves going out of town for business trips. This last trip, I tried to get into my wife's social media, and luckily enough, she used someone's birthday as the password. I found out her affair partner is Zachary, 35 male, a family friend who has a wife, 29 female. So on my trip, I read so many messages. One message involved Zachary asking if it's okay to come over for their fun time since he thinks he's coming down with something. Even after getting back in town, I read some messages. Zachary messaged that he and his wife have the flu, so he can't see my wife for a while. My wife said that herself getting the flu was worth it. I came home to my wife who's suffering from the flu. I immediately told her that I know about her and Zachary. She was upset, but too weak from the flu to stop me from packing and leaving. She begged me not to leave her alone while she's sick. After I left, my wife has been messaging me. She said she's very sick. I told her to go to the doctor, call ambulance, or call someone else. She said she's not dying, but she needs me. She said she can't call our kids nor any other family member since they'll ask why I'm not there. She said that menopause had made her crazy and that she wouldn't see Zachary anymore. I still haven't gone back. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Menopause did not make her cheat. Mail order a carton of NyQuil to her if you're feeling a little compassionate. I'll never know what menopause feels like. I've known other women who've gone through it. To my knowledge, those women have managed to avoid sleeping with married men who's a family friend. Not the a-hole. Leave her and don't look back. Her being sick makes it harder to leave her. But I can't be around her. Single woman here. I take care of myself when I'm sick. She can too. She chose that outcome. Now she has to lie sick in it. All kinds of ick sleeping with a married man-child close to the family. She literally chose to have sex with a man who warned her that he was coming down with something. Afterwards, she messaged him that their fun was worth getting the flu. I have to remember that in case I feel sorry for her. Call the wife and tell her. Call all your kids and tell them before she lies and do the kids right away. See a lawyer right away. I would hate to tell my kids, but I may have to if their mom will lie to them. She will, or say it's because your day was verbally abusive. You need to go on the offensive. If you play the good guy, it will come back to kick you in the teeth. Call them now. Show them the texts about the flu, etc. I told my kids just now. I also told Zach's wife. Now for the mini updates. As soon as I found the messages, I was planning on telling Zach's wife. I wanted to tell her face to face. I wanted to spare our adult kids the horrible news. But many in the comments made a good point that my wife could lie to our kids. So I called Zach's wife first. I don't know what's going on in their marriage because she believed me right away. I called my kids and talked to them like a conference call. I had to unfortunately send some proof to them. I didn't go overboard, just enough for them to believe me. Obviously, they're all upset. I tried to keep it together as I don't want to vent about their mother to them. Mini update 2. Zach's wife has been messaging me last night and this morning. She was planning on leaving Zachary anyway because Zachary was sleeping with 2 other women. But the fact that Victoria is a married woman who is like a family member speeds things up. Zach's wife made Zachary leave the house. Also, all my kids have called their mother. They're not buying any of their mom's excuses. They all want me to divorce her. Update 3. The answer was obvious, but I needed other people to tell me, so I didn't stupidly go back to my wife. Thank you for those who commented on the first post. I had made 2 edits on the first post, explaining some stuff that happened after I posted. To just briefly touch on those edits, Zach's wife and my adult kids know that my wife Victoria had an affair with Zachary. Zach's wife kicked him out of their house. All kids are on my side and they want us to divorce. I talked to a friend who's a major divorce attorney for the 3rd time. I've given her a lot of evidence so she can decide what she can use. She did say that I should be careful with what I say online, especially not to use Victoria's and Zachary's real names. Our kids, especially our eldest daughter, are pressuring their mom to make this a quick and easy divorce. A lot of people who commented said I was being too nice to my cheating wife. I'll show some pettiness by letting everyone here mock all the excuses and minimizations she made for cheating. Menopause made her crazy. She felt fat and ugly. She felt like she didn't deserve me. Zachary came on to her first. She wanted to make sure a man can be attracted to her without him being obligated to because she's the mother of his children. She had sex with Zachary to make sure she can still have sex. She says Zachary didn't mean anything to her. I'm overreacting because Zachary is a family friend and not a family member. Zach's wife isn't like a daughter to us. She didn't betray a woman that's like a daughter to us. Other husbands have forgiven their wives when the wives cheat. If I had sex with a younger woman during a midlife crisis, she would have forgiven me. We have 4 kids. We've been together for so long. I promised to love her in sickness and in health. She felt like she didn't deserve me. I mean, she ain't wrong. Some people will go to great lengths just to always be right. Her excuses are disgusting. Good for you for seeing through her BS. Menopause doesn't make you cheat. If she felt fat and ugly, then that's something to work out in therapy or with you. I think she almost ran a full list of made-up excuses, except for the mind-controlling aliens excuse. It's interesting how she's refusing to acknowledge any harm she did to the other wife. Zach's wife is someone Victoria and I watched grow up. She was like a niece. Our eldest daughter was the maid of honor at their wedding. The fact that she feels no remorse for the pain she inflicted on another woman is telling. It's all me, 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 me. I felt sad, I felt ugly, I felt old, me, me, me. What about the other woman? True, Victoria is so self-centered. Menopause makes just about every woman gain weight, especially in the stomach. I went through about 13 years ago. Never cheated on my husband. My eldest daughter didn't appreciate it when my wife said that when she goes through menopause, she'll understand. Next story. Am I the a-hole for allowing my husband's mistress to meal prep for him and the kids? My husband has been cheating on me for years with different women. Due to this, I've completely shut off from him. We don't have a sexual relationship, but we do an amazing job at being parents. Our kids love us, and that's all that matters in the grand scheme of things. I am not dating anyone. This isn't an open relationship. Every time he cheats, he acts more remorseful, but I've come to terms that I can't save him. He's seeing this woman Cherry, and she's a cook and baker. We were in a little tussle once, but that's in the past. I've moved on. I don't like her, but I don't hate her. Few weeks back, I caught him eating in his car and realized it was from her. The packaging gave him away. She has been sending him goodie bags and now full meals. I told him going forward, I'm no longer cooking for him and he needs to let her do everything including meals for the kids. I really put my foot down and did some petty things that I'm not proud of, but it worked. I told him if she loves him, he will do it, but I'm done. Well, I don't know what he did to convince her, but at least 3 times a week they get meals from Cherry. He brings the container and plates the food. The kids are happy because they think they're getting takeout. I don't partake. On the other days, I cook for just the kids and myself. My husband, on the other hand, got mad and said I manipulated him into taking advantage of Cherry and kept asking me what do I get out of these mind games. I told my best friend about the whole ordeal, and she's upset with me saying that what if Cherry spikes the kids' meals? I don't think she would do it. Am I the a-hole for letting this happen? Now for the comments. Mistress wanted to be a sister wife. She got assigned sister wife duties. LMAO. I don't really know how I feel about trusting a mistress on feeding my kids though. She's a professional mistress. She'll move on from him soon. Why are you staying with him? For Pete's sake, just get divorced. This is sick and a terrible environment in which to raise kids. I'm not giving up my house and leaving with half. I hope I get under his skin and he gives up everything. These comments are boosting me to leave, but it's not black and white. We have built a good amount together. Financially, it's a stupid idea. It's cool to say leave until you're homeless with no help. Not everyone has a village. I do provide, but I'm not leaving my home. How long would my salary last to stay in a hotel or motel? Get an apartment? We live in a small town, as I've said many comments ago. I would have to move 30 minutes away to live in an apartment complex. My husband would not leave our home either. I can't up and leave and stay at a friend's home. In all likelihood, you wouldn't have to. Negotiate that in a divorce. Find out if you live in an at-fault state. You have proof of his repeated infidelity. Honestly, talk to a lawyer. Find out what your options are. Nobody deserves to live like this. And you're going to seriously ruin your kids if the shenanigans continue. Kids aren't stupid. This is the strangest thing I've read on here in ages. I know a couple in a similar situation. They struggled with infertility for years, both had issues, and eventually decided to adopt. After adopting a few children, including some who were not babies, she caught him sleeping with her best friend. Despite this, she didn't want to divorce because she felt it would be unfair to break up their home after finally providing a stable and safe environment for the children. 2 of the kids had been in intense therapy for years and were finally starting to settle in and calm down. The couple has developed an amazing co-parenting dynamic and even friendship, but there's no intimacy or romantic love between them. She says she's not interested in relationships anymore and is content with her life as it is. The husband, however, isn't as happy. He misses having a loving relationship with her, but he knows there's no going back. He stays because he doesn't want to disrupt the children's lives. It's unusual to witness, but I respect that they've managed to keep things together for the sake of the kids. They don't fight at all. Last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband after he won a large sum of money? My 32 female husband, 36 male, was in a work accident several years ago, and he won a court case in which he was awarded a sum in the multi-millions. My husband and I live in the US and have been struggling for years, especially since his accident, since he hasn't been able to work a job in his specialty since. He's mainly been working minimum to low-wage jobs because his degree and trade experience are in an industry his body can no longer work in. I make pretty good money, but again, we live in the economical hellscape that is America. In the last year since the settlement, my husband has become the most smug, stuck-up, pretentious man I've ever known, and I'm sick of it. Our friends and family aren't good enough for us anymore because now we have money. Our home and cars and clothes weren't good enough for us, and anyone with a small house, paid-off car, or mall clothes was sad and depressing. He judges people hard, and he is not quiet about it. He is mean and rude to the people we interact with. Of course, we got nicer things when he received his money, but he was adamant on luxury things. And to him, anyone who doesn't live in a mansion on the hills with a Lamborghini and Gucci shoes is embarrassing. He gets upset with me for not wanting to spend crazy amounts of money. Why would I buy a $2,000 pair of shoes when I can get a pair just like it for $60? It feels like giving a child with no concept of money $20 and setting them free in a Dollar Tree. He's bought me a ton of expensive clothes and jewelry, new electronics. He pays for high-end spa days and even bought me a new car. I feel like an ungrateful woman for saying this, but I don't really like the gifts. Nothing is my style or taste. He's buying it just because it's expensive. My husband harasses me daily to quit the job I love and says that I make us look bad by working and making us still look poor. He gets upset if I want to go to the same chain restaurants we've always liked, Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack in the Box, etc., instead of 5-star Michelin steakhouses and sushi places because we can afford it now. He's even gone as far as trying to push me towards plastic surgery because we can't afford it, so why not? He suggested a boob job, BBL, lip filler, and at one point, that surgery where they removed the bottom rib. I feel like he's starting to think I don't look good enough for him and our new lifestyle. We've gone to couples therapy, but his attitude isn't improving. It's even gotten worse, and I'm miserable. This is not the man I married. I don't want to have kids and raise a family with him, but I'm afraid that if I leave, everyone will cry gold digger. We married when we were young and broke, and didn't consider a prenup because we had nothing. Dumb, I know, but we were kids. Am I the a-hole? No, leave him. He's going to blow through that money soon enough. Keep all the gifts and sell them once you are divorced. He's told you to get plastic surgery. If you don't, he will just cheat because he knows gold diggers will be after him. Yes, he will waste it all away. Get out and find peace and love. Leave. Not only will he waste all that money away in no time, he will go into huge debt in order to maintain the lifestyle and image that he wants to project to the world. If Opie doesn't leave soon, she will be on the hook for all the debt that he incurs via loans and credit cards, after wasting all the money he was awarded. He is exactly like those stupid lottery winners who end up living in a broken-down trailer at the end of a dirt road, hiding from collection agencies and people who still think they have money. Opie is not the a-hole, but she needs to divorce now. Not the a-hole. I would also be very afraid of that level of spending, in addition to him being an insufferable prick. I mean, multi-million sounds like a lot, but is it 4 million or 20 million? In general, you can live off investments, assuming the money is invested, but the rule of thumb is 4% of the amount if you want the money to last. And you need it to last. You guys are young. Let's say it is $5 million. That means the 4% amount before taxes is $200K a year income. This equals roughly $141K a year after taxes. That is not Gucci and Lambo money. You know, most lottery winners are broke after a couple of years, and it sounds like your husband is on the same path. I would make sure you are saying in counseling that you are not enjoying things just because they are expensive. You liked your old life, minus the financial stress. You liked him when he enjoyed the simpler things, and you want him to stop acting like an entitled a-hole. Also, I suggest you quietly go talk to a lawyer and find out what the financial split would be. Depending on where you live, you might not be entitled to any of it, or you might be entitled to a reasonable split. If you are entitled to a reasonable share, you can always go for less and settle for, say, 1 to 2 million. That would be enough to have a great retirement if you invested it and kept working for 15 or 20 years. This man is going to burn through all that money, and once it hits him that it's over, he's going to go from smug jackass to an incredibly bitter and depressed one. I hate to say get out while the getting is good, but your advice is spot on.